If you're a green card holder planning to leave the United States for more than 6 months, stop right now. What I'm about to tell you could be the difference between walking back through customs like you always do, or being pulled into secondary inspection and questioned about abandoning your permanent residence. This isn't a drill. There's a new enforcement priority that immigration officers are using right now, and thousands of green card holders have no idea they're at risk. Imagine this. You've had your green card for 3 years. Your family back home needs you, so you decide to stay with them for 8 months. You think, I'll be fine. I have my green card. I'm a permanent resident. But when you return to the U.S., the officer at the airport looks at your passport, checks something on their computer, and says those 4 words nobody wants to hear. Please step aside, sir. They escort you to a small room. They start asking questions. How long were you gone? Why? Where do you work? Do you pay U.S. taxes? And then they tell you they're considering whether you abandoned your residency. Your green card, the thing you worked years to get, could be taken away right there at the airport. This is happening more often than you think. And in 2026, it's about to get worse. Here's why this matters right now. U.S. Customs and Border Protection has ramped up scrutiny on green card holders who spend extended time outside the country. They're not just looking at people who've been gone for years. They're flagging anyone who shows a pattern of long absences, even if each trip is under a year. And the problem is, most people don't understand the rules until it's too late. They think that as long as they come back before 1 year, they're safe. But that's only half the story. Let me explain what's actually happening. When you become a permanent resident, you're supposed to live permanently in the United States. That's literally what the green card means. The government expects that America is your home. Yes, you can travel. Yes, you can visit family abroad. But if you start spending more time outside the U.S. than inside, immigration officers will start asking questions. And here's the scary part. There's no exact rule that says how long is too long. It's not like you're safe at 5 months and in trouble at 7 months. It's based on something called abandonment of residence, and officers decide this by looking at your entire situation. So what does this actually mean for you? Let's say you left the U.S. for 4 months, came back for 2 weeks, then left again for another 5 months. Technically, neither trip was longer than 6 months. But when you return, the officer sees this pattern and thinks, this person isn't really living here. They might let you in with a warning, or they might send you to secondary inspection where they'll dig deeper. They'll ask about your job. Do you work in the U.S. or abroad? They'll ask about your home. Do you own or rent property here? They'll ask about your taxes. Did you file U.S. taxes while you were gone? They'll ask about your family. Does your spouse live here or somewhere else? And this is where people get caught. Because the truth is, many green card holders do have complicated situations. Maybe your spouse still lives in your home country. Maybe you're caring for elderly parents overseas. Maybe your job requires you to travel internationally. None of these things are illegal, but if you can't clearly show that the United States is still your primary home, you're giving the officer a reason to question your status. Here's what the law actually says. According to immigration regulations, a permanent resident can lose their status if they take a trip abroad for more than 1 year without getting a re-entry permit, or if they take multiple trips that show they've abandoned their residence. That second part is the tricky one. Abandonment isn't just about time, it's about intent. Did you intend to make the U.S. your permanent home, or were you just using your green card as a backup plan while you actually live somewhere else? Now, I know what you're thinking. But I see people on social media saying they've been gone for 8 months and had no problems at the airport. And that might be true. But here's what social media doesn't tell you. Just because you weren't stopped last time doesn't mean you won't be stopped next time. Immigration officers have discretion. One officer might wave you through. Another officer might decide to dig deeper. And once you're flagged in the system, every future trip becomes riskier. Let me give you a real example that I've seen happen. A green card holder I know used to travel back to India for 6 months every year to run his family business. For 3 years, he had no problems. Then on his 4th trip back to the U.S., a different officer saw his travel history and pulled him aside. They questioned him for 2 hours. They asked why he kept leaving for so long. They asked how he could run a business in India, and still claim to live in the U.S. In the end, they let him keep his green card, but they gave him a formal warning. They told him if he did this again, they would start removal proceedings. He came so close to losing everything. Here's the reality check you need. There are rumors flying around online that say you're completely safe as long as you return before 1 year. That's not accurate. There are people saying you can just get a re-entry permit and stay abroad as long as you want. Also not true. A re-entry permit lets you stay outside the U.S. for up to 2 years without automatically abandoning your residence, but it doesn't guarantee you won't be questioned when you return. Officers can still decide you've abandoned your status based on your overall situation. And here's another dangerous myth. Some people think that if you've had your green card for a long time, you have more freedom to travel. Actually, the opposite can be true. If you're close to being eligible for citizenship and you start taking long trips abroad, you could mess up your eligibility timeline. To become a U.S. citizen, you need to show continuous residence in the United States. If you're gone for more than 6 months at a time, you break that continuity. If you're gone for more than a year, you completely reset your eligibility clock. So what should you actually do? First, understand the 6-month guideline. This isn't a hard rule, but it's the safest zone. If you're going to be outside the U.S. for less than 6 months, you're generally okay as long as you maintain clear ties to America. Keep your U.S. address, keep your U.S. bank accounts, file your U.S. taxes, keep your job if possible, or at least keep records showing you plan to work here when you return. Second, if you need to be gone for more than 6 months but less than a year, document everything. Keep proof of why you had to be gone. Medical records if you were caring for a sick family member, employment letters if you were on an international assignment. Anything that shows this was temporary and you always intended to return. Third, if you know you'll be gone for more than a year, apply for a re-entry permit before you leave. This is absolutely critical. You have to apply while you're physically in the United States. You can't apply for it from overseas. The re-entry permit shows immigration officers that you told the government in advance about your plans and that you're not trying to abandon your status. Fourth, be strategic about your travel patterns. Don't keep leaving for long periods and coming back for just a week or two. That looks like you're only coming back to keep your green card active, not because you actually live here. If you have to travel frequently, try to spend significant time in the U.S. between trips. Make it clear through your actions that America is your real home. Fifth, if you're questioned at the airport, stay calm and be honest. Don't lie. Don't make up stories. Explain your situation clearly. Show them your documentation. Most of the time, if you have legitimate reasons and you can prove your ties to the U.S., they'll let you through. But if you get defensive, or if your story doesn't add up, that's when you get into real trouble. Now here's something that worries me. I'm seeing more and more green card holders take risks because they think the rules won't apply to them. They think because they haven't had problems before, they never will. But immigration enforcement priorities change. Officer training changes. And in 2026, with all the political focus on immigration, officers are being more careful than ever. They're under pressure to enforce the rules strictly. That means less flexibility. That means more questions. And if you do get your green card taken away at the port of entry, fighting it is incredibly difficult. You might be able to request a hearing, but you'll likely need an immigration attorney. And there's no guarantee you'll win. The government will argue that you abandoned your residence through your own actions. And once that determination is made, getting your green card back is nearly impossible. You'd have to start the entire immigration process over from scratch. Let me be very clear about one more thing. This isn't about scaring you away from traveling. You absolutely have the right to leave the United States and come back. Your green card gives you that right. But with that right comes responsibility. The responsibility to maintain your permanent residence. The responsibility to follow the rules. The responsibility to understand that permanent resident means permanent. I'm Joe from US Visa Path, and I'm here to keep your American dream safe. My job is to make sure you don't make mistakes that could cost you everything you've worked for. I see too many people lose their status because they didn't understand these rules. They didn't know that time outside the U.S. would count against them. They didn't know their travel pattern would raise red flags. They didn't know that one conversation with one immigration officer could change their entire life. Here's what you need to do right now. If you're planning any international travel that will last more than a few months, sit down and evaluate your situation honestly. Look at your ties to the United States. Do you have a job here? Do you own property? Do you pay taxes? Does your family live here? If the answer to most of those questions is no, you need to either strengthen your ties or seriously reconsider how long you stay abroad. If you've already been taking long trips and you're worried you might be flagged, talk to an immigration attorney before your next trip back. Get professional advice on your specific situation. An attorney can help you prepare documentation and coach you on what to say if you're questioned. And if you're serious about becoming a U.S. citizen one day, track your time outside the country carefully. Keep a spreadsheet. Mark every entry and exit date. Make sure you're not jeopardizing your eligibility by staying away too long. The bottom line is this. Your green card is not a free pass to live wherever you want. It's permission to live permanently in the United States with the ability to travel. If you flip that around and try to live permanently somewhere else with occasional visits to the U.S., you're going to run into problems eventually. Don't wait until you're standing in secondary inspection wishing you had watched this video sooner. Don't wait until an officer is typing up a report about abandonment of residence. Take action now while you still can. If this video helped you understand the risks and what you need to do, hit that subscribe button. Because immigration rules change constantly. And if you want to stay ahead of the updates that could affect your status, you need to stay informed. I post new videos every week breaking down exactly what you need to know to protect your visa, your green card, and your future in America. Don't leave your American dream to chance. Stay informed, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.